Once again, everyone, it's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. Monday evening's weather for Weather Geeks. Another winter weather event heading our way during midweek, much like Sundays. It won't be the biggest storm in the world, but it will be pretty impactful. In fact, I would argue for more people it'll be more impactful because it comes during the middle of the work week. So schools and people heading off to work, that'll definitely be impacted Wednesday morning. But before we get to that, let's review where we have been this month. And we haven't been very far in the snow department, although we've made up a little bit of ground in the last 24 to 36 hours. At the Youngstown Warren Airport, 3.2 inches before midnight last night. Another 0.7 officially today since midnight, but we're still almost 10 inches behind average for the month of January. And of course, it's a big number as far as the seasonal departure from the average. So it was pretty healthy snowfall on Sunday, even an overachiever in some parts of Ohio, especially from, say, Wilmington and north of Cincinnati along I-71 through parts of the Columbus area up to Mansfield, kind of hugging that I-71 corridor. There were some 6-inch plus amounts here and there, definitely a little more than was bargained for in a lot of forecasts. Now in our television viewing area, it overachieved a little here and there, but generally this was pretty well behaved. We'll query a few totals here. In southeastern Columbiana County, 3 to 4 inches was pretty common, Wellsville down to East Liverpool. A little bit of a lull in parts of central Columbiana County with 3 inches or less around Guilford Lake and Lisbon, places like that. But once you're up to Canfield, 3.5, even close to 4. And again, we had about the same totals once you get up towards Girard and the I-80 corridor. This total in Craig Beach seems a little low to me, but you get the idea. Generally in our TV viewing area, it's pretty common to see 3 or 4 inches worth of snow. Sunday into Sunday night. Sunday night's snowfall overachieved a little bit. We were not expecting much more than flurries, but some of us got easily another inch or so worth of snow once the sun went down Sunday evening. All is quiet, though, on this Monday evening. We had some drizzle and some flurries earlier on. That's faded away. The clouds, they're going to hang tough for the entire evening, but I think some of this clearing out in Indiana will try to work in late at night. A few hours worth of clearing late tonight, but I think clouds will roll back in by tomorrow morning. We actually have a weak weather disturbance pivoting through tomorrow morning. Now you see blue here on our model. Yes, there could be a snowflake in spots, but I think there's a lot of dry air up in kind of the snowflake making zone of the atmosphere above our heads a few thousand feet. And so I guess I wouldn't be surprised if some of this actually was drizzle, because the atmosphere is going to have a hard time making snowflakes, even though temperatures down here at the ground will be below freezing. The air very dry in the layer of the atmosphere in which snowflakes like to form. So this could take on the form of patchy freezing drizzle. I'm not real confident of this, and I think it would be pretty low impact if it were to occur, but it's something we'll be watching out for Tuesday morning. Perhaps a few patches of freezing drizzle, and just clouds for the rest of the day. All right, let's talk about Wednesday. Timing on this, not great unless you're a student or a teacher and you're looking for a snow day. We had a handful this morning, especially in Columbiana County. I think there'll be more widespread school adjustments Wednesday morning. Not my area of expertise. I get a lot of questions, of course, in the winter. Hey, is school going to be closed or canceled? I can only tell you what the forecast is. I can't tell you what districts are going to decide to do. But that being said, I think the snow is going to come down pretty hard just around the time the buses will try to be running Wednesday morning. So this is a pretty good recipe, I think, for a cancellation for many districts. A 2-hour delay won't do a whole lot of good Wednesday morning because conditions won't be any better at 9 a.m. as opposed to 7 a.m. In fact, they could be somewhat worse. Because, again, the snow is going to come down a decent clip for a handful of hours, but then, because of the track of the low coming up the I-71 corridor instead of kind of over here, that brings the warm air in on this side of the circulation. So we'll get above freezing, in fact, into the upper 30s Wednesday afternoon, and after a brief period in which we could see sleet and freezing rain right around lunchtime, I think it just is a plain rain for a lot of the afternoon. Just kind of a gloomy, miserable, muddy Wednesday afternoon. Then the low pushes away. We're back into the cold side of this, the cyclonic flow bringing in moisture off the lakes, and there'll be some flurries around Wednesday night and into Thursday. Probably not much of consequence, but it will look and feel like January once again at the end of the week. Here's a look at our local expectations, at least according to the computer models, as far as snow totals, and this is kind of for the heart of our viewing area. You can see most of our models are clustered in here, kind of the 2 to 3 inch range. One model, the NAM, is a little more ambitious, shall we say, this evening. I think 2 to 3 inches is a good good consensus as far as the modeling goes, and so it's no surprise that our local forecast is kind of in that range, 2, 3, maybe 4. Certainly, amounts are going to be heavier, it looks like, in northwest Ohio, southeastern Michigan, parts of Indiana will do well, and then a couple of hours to our east, out towards State College, Altoona, Williamsport, places like that. They'll do pretty well with maybe up to 5 or 6 inches or so. But in our television viewing area, 2 to 4. But whether you get 2 or whether you get 3 or 4, the impacts are going to be about the same everywhere, and that this is going to be a tough morning commute on Wednesday. If you've got to be on the roads, plan on a tough sledding for a little while. Plan on allowing for some extra time, maybe doubling the time that you usually allot for your morning commute. Because it's going to be a little bit tough Wednesday morning. Now, coming home from work, if you work like a 9 to 5 kind of a job, heading home later on Wednesday will be fine. Roads will be wet. Rain showers around, temperatures in the upper 30s. So again, looking for moderate to high impacts on the roads and for school adjustments as well on Wednesday. Beyond Wednesday, we're not looking for high winter weather impacts for the rest of the weekend into the weekend, but it will be seasonably cold. No better than about 30 on Friday, into the mid-30s over the weekend. We'll kind of get nickeled and dimed a little bit in this pattern as we head towards the weekend and into early next week. The models are not advertising any sort of major systems beyond Wednesday morning, but there will be some flurries, could be a rain shower in the mix as we head towards the weekend. And I can't even rule out maybe at some point over the weekend and early next week we get some sort of small accumulation of snow at times, but I don't see anything major on the horizon as we get beyond midday on Wednesday. What I do see is for the rest of the month a pretty cold looking pattern. Let's load this up and see if this will load again. Some of my graphics like this in the last couple of days have not been real keen on populating. So anyway, this is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Nothing's going to happen, right? Well, if this were to display properly, you would see a lot of blue on this map across a lot of the lower 48 states. Pretty chilly end of January. There we go. Pretty chilly end of January pattern and start of February. In fact, there's been some trends towards somewhat colder weather during the first week of February. I think beyond that, it still is going to warm up during the middle of February, but there's been some trends over the last 2-3 days, mostly over the weekend, for there to be a pretty good shot of colder air sometime during that first week of February. So the end of January, the start of February, looking pretty cold, looking pretty stormy. We're going to have plenty of winter weather over the next, probably 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. Beyond that, I would look for the pattern to relax some, and we get back into milder times as we transition into the middle of February. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. Of course, we'll have a full update on what to expect on Wednesday this evening on 21 News at 11, and again tomorrow on Weather for Weather Geeks.